One.
Great. Here we are at the Strictly Sales Show in Chicago, and Terry Hutchinson has been kind enough to come by. And Terry, I want to ask you a few questions. You obviously had a wildly successful year in 2008, a number of wins, not to mention the TP52 campaign in quantum racing and the Audi Med Cup, the World Championships, topped off by the Rolex Yachtsman of the Year Award. And with that comes many suitors for your services. And I think the question on everybody's mind is, with your recent joining to Quantum Sail Design Group, we want to know why. Why is it that you chose to come with Quantum?
In the end, the decision was pretty easy. You know, when you look at the successes that we had this year on the TP52 and the Melges 24, all of that had one common denominator, and that was the sales that we had on our boat and the work and the effort that went in from the Quantum side to make the sales on the TP52 and the Melges 24 perfect. And a lot of it wasn't without pushing and shoving and making sure that everything happened in the manner that it needed to happen, but every single time we asked, as a professional sailor, we asked for something to be done, it was done to the nth degree. And while things sometimes we made mistake on our side in what we asked for from a sailor side, good or bad, it was always delivered in everything that we wanted. And I look at the year that I had sailing wise and the results that we had. To me, it was a distinct advantage to have our quantum sails. With that, it just seemed like an obvious thing to do as a professional sailor, to align myself with Quantum as a spokesperson for their company and represent them in the manner and support them in the manner that they supported myself and the 20 other guys that raced on the boat this summer. It seemed a little bit to be a no-brainer.
Great. Good. Speaking of that TP52 campaign, obviously I think Quantum proved the success they had there, the quality of their products and their program. That's obviously a very high-end level of racing. Explain a little bit what was learned as a result of that TP52 campaign and how that translates down into the vast majority of the Quantum customer, whether they're racing offshore or the Wednesday night beer can race or cruising the lakes of Lake Michigan.
Well, inevitably, when you work at the top end of the sport, the idea, I think, for us was to identify areas to make the designs right, to make the construction process right, and then have that filter down through the Quantum system. And just as an example, we took delivery of our first FAR 40 mainsail for the Barking Mad last week in Key West Race Week, and this was our first test sail. But when we put the sail up, instantly you could see that everything we learned this summer translated into this sail. The seaming of the sail was perfect. The details really, really nice. And as somebody who's taken the leap of faith and I've made a conscious decision to back Quantum, it's great to see that when you take a delivery of a sail for my most important customer, that you put the sail up and it's perfect. It was by far the best sail that we'd actually received all year long, and everything was that was a direct correlation from everything that we learned on the 52. And for us, we want to be a little bit of the crash test dummy for Quantum, and we want to use the 52 and that program to test different sail shapes, test different fabrics and different techniques, so we can really learn what's going to work and what's not going to work. Inevitably, in the absence of America's Cup, the 52 or the Volvo Ocean Race, or what's going on right now in the world, the 52 is probably the premier Grand Prix event. And so to go out and compete in the manner that we did in 2008, says something about the product itself. I mean, if the results don't speak for itself, then from my perspective, nothing else will.
Right. So you're saying that Quantum Racing program, the technology that was used there, will trickle down and translate into
I think it already,
cruiser or a one-design racer?
Yeah, it already has. I mean, by seeing what we saw in the FAR 40 last week, you know that it's already. And then with the recent appointments of Andrew as the control manager for the product, having worked with him in the Stars and Stripes and knowing he did that exact same job within our 2003 Cup program, you know that the consistency of the product is only going to get better. And I think from an average customer perspective, when you go and you put the sail up, you want the corners to be nice, you want the sail to look nice, and you want the shape to be nice, and then you want the thing to last. At our end of the sport, at the Grand Prix, and those qualities, I want the sail to be fast, and I want it to last for 2 or 3 regattas, because I know inevitably we're going to replace it in another 2 months' time. And so we look at it that if we can get 90 hours out of a race mainsail racing, then the sail's done a really good job for us. And inevitably, that knowing the limitations of that and then passing it down through to the customers is ultimately only going to benefit the customer.
Good. One last question, kind of a follow-up to my previous question. As the TP52 campaign is high-level racing, you yourself are obviously a high-level racer. What does you joining Quantum Sail Design Group mean to the vast majority of our customers?
I don't know. You might have to ask them. I mean, hopefully, what it means, and it should mean, is that it instills confidence in the average person who's going out and racing those Wednesday nights, that they know that they're getting a high-quality product. They know that occasionally, everything that I learn is going to be transferred onto them, and be it on the Melges 24 or the TP52. As we've developed our Melges 24 sails, a couple of the guys have asked me, I want your specific sails. And I'm more than happy to put my sail number on it and hand it off to somebody else, because I know that inevitably, if the sails are all going to be the same, and the advantage will come from the team on the boat. But in my mind, I think the customer should always know that everything that we're learning on the 52 is getting filtered down through the system.
Great.
And on the FAR 40 and on the programs that we sail with.
Well, good. Well, thank you, Terry.
Yep,
Appreciate your time.
My pleasure.